Today, let's talk about stiffeners in shoemaking, front and back stays, top-offs and counter stiffeners. What materials do I use? What materials do I recommend? Let's get into it.
Are you ready?
Ready?
Are you set?
Set!
Do you need a count?
Yes, sir!
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome once again to Pomo Bespoke. If learning about the craft, the hobby, the trade, and the technology of shoemaking is something you think you will enjoy, subscribe to the channel, and while you're at it, like this video. Right off the bat, I'll tell you that the best material to use for any aspect of shoemaking is leather, and particularly for stiffeners, top-offs, and counter stiffeners, what we know as the front and back stay. A particular type of vegetable tan leather is what you need. Vegetable tan leather is expensive where I live, so I only use it for premium orders. For everything else, however, I use fiberboard. Different kinds of fiber for both the front and the back stay. For the front stay, I use the fiberboard that's about 1.5 mm thick. And then for the back stay, basically the fiberboard that you use for your insoles, this one is about 3 mm to 3.5 mm thick. This video is going to be showing you how I prepare these fiberboards in such a way that they are pliable and you are able to use them without any flaws in making your shoes and having flawless finish while you're at it. So let's start with the top off, the front stay. So I mentioned that I use the about 1.5 mm thick fiberboard. I like to put like a convex curve at the base of the board, and with that, basically it's pretty much simple. So once I cut out the pattern for one, I use that to cut out both of them, and the next thing will be to skive just the base. Once I'm done skiving the base, it will just be to roll the fiber and get it in a condition where I'm able to use it. Let's talk about this one, which is about 3 mm thick, basically made of similar material. In this case, I'm not just skiving the base of the stiffener material itself. I'm going to skive all around that, and as you can see, I'm cutting it to a pattern which covers at least up to the arc of the last. Meanwhile, I gave my little daughter, who I'm trying to ease into shoemaking, to cut out these patterns, and that accounts for why the edges are jagged as they are. So I trimmed that off to make it a little bit more smooth. And like I said, I'm going to skive. On the one for the back stay, I'm going to skive all around the fiber itself, all around the perimeter of the fiberboard. And that's because of the way I intend to use this. So you pay particular attention to the top and basically just skive. And the good thing about this board is that you can actually hammer it down to nothingness, and you know, even if you're not very good with skiving, once you're done, you could just use your hammer and hammer it down, and you will basically have solved whatever imperfections that you may have had in your skiving. But I always recommend that people learn how to skive. It's a skill that will pay you off 100-fold as you go along in your shoemaking career. So that's it. We are done with the skiving, and I hope you can see how thinly I have skived around these edges. You don't have to skive it as thinly as I do. All you need to do is to hammer it down once you're done. Some people use a grinder to grind the edges. I haven't found a reason to do that. Now let's get back to preparing these things and softening them up, breaking the fiber, breaking the structure of the fiber such that it is almost like textile and ready to use. So you see, what I do is I put it on a board. This is actually board that I guess all shoemakers have, the board on which you do your glue work, it has glue residue that introduces quite significant amount of friction to the board, and you can actually use that in breaking up the fiber, in breaking up the structure of the fiber board, such that it is very, very pliable by the time you're done. For this one, which is about 1.5 mm thick, it's not such a big deal to achieve. You can actually achieve breaking up the fibers by just rubbing it in between your palm. But for this thicker one, you would find that rolling it on this board makes a lot of sense and makes the job of breaking up the fibers much easier. So you see how I'm rolling it. When I roll it, I'll flip it around and roll it from the other side, turn it over, flip it over, and also roll it in the opposite direction. By the time you're done, you can roll it diagonal, roll it sideways, however you can roll it, just to break up the fibers and make it pliable, such that it is now like textile basically. Now, I've also had a friend of mine who suggested to me that even speeding up the process, you could apply some hydrocellulose thinner. Thinner is the chemical compound that is used in mixing paint. People who paint cars, carpenters, mechanics know thinner very well, and I guess quite a number of shoemakers also know thinner. You just apply just some thinner to soften up the fibers, and then you'd find that rolling it and breaking up the fibers will become even much more easier. What you have to guard against if you're using thinner is to ensure that you leave the thinner to evaporate, because thinner and glue, your contact adhesive, your contact cement, don't really go together. So you'd have to give it some time, about an hour or so, for the thinner to completely evaporate before you start using the fiber material that you have broken up into basically textile. So ladies and gentlemen, you see how pliable, how soft, and how workable these materials are. I can basically use them, and that will be it.
Want to wear a black suit. You need a count? No, sir. Well, that ain't good.